Soccer in 60.
Hey, welcome to Soccer in 60. We're going to cruise around the soccer landscape of Greater LA today with all the news and notes about the teams we know and love, and sometimes the rivalries that we know and hate each other. No, I'm just kidding. Hey, we're going to be talking about the two games for both LAFC and LA Galaxy, as they have both been very active since you last tuned into us on KMET 1490 AM radio and out there streaming services as well. We'll also take a little look at Love Undercover that is starring Marco Fabian. And our guest star today with our guest host today will be Amanda Panda, and she'll have an Angel City update. And then we're going to have one of the key players of Orange County SC join us as SoCal native Ethan Zubak joins Soccer in 60 Day. With me today is my fine feathered co-host, Philly. How we doing today, Philly?
Fine feathered. What am I, the penguin from Batman? all good. Feeling caffeinated. Another Thursday, another chance to chop it up about local football. This is what I look forward to right now. And thank you for all of us joining us today. Don't forget to like and subscribe and tell your friends, your family, your cousins, your mothers, your brothers, everybody about Soccer in 60. Tim, it's Thirsty Thursday. And as far as I'm concerned, we are all at happy hour. Let's get this show on the road.
Yeah, rock and roll. And let's, both of the MLS teams had a pretty heavy schedule over the past 8 days, and let's just kick it right off, man. You were at the LAFC game over the weekend. Let's get right into those guys.
All right, let's kick it off with LAFC. I'm going to cover LAFC today. Tim's going to cover the Galaxy. Now, as far as the black and gold are concerned, they came into the weekend having defeated the Las Vegas Lights in the U.S. Open Cup. Obviously, that's not an MLS regular season match. The last time they had played one of those was up in Santa Clara against the San Jose Earthquakes in front of a ruckus crowd, a game in which they lost by a pretty hefty score, a continuation of the plaguing of LAFC on the road. But welcoming the Vancouver Whitecaps into BMO Stadium is the black and gold, and this is a team that LAFC was very successful against last season. It's a team that they competed against on a number of occasions, 6 to be exact, with 4 of those being wins, 1 draw, and 1 loss. All-time record in favor, actually pretty darn even with one another, but LAFC just absolutely stormed over the Vancouver Whitecaps. And Denny Bwanga was one of those players to storm all over Vancouver all season long in 2023. Would that be a repeat? Well, you're just going to have to stick around and find out. Always a beautiful time at BMO Stadium, a great crowd. Lee Win was in the audience as the honorary Falconer. For those of you who don't know, Lee Win was part of the inaugural LAFC team back in 2018 and was a beloved member of the Black and Gold, and got a soft spot in my heart for Lee because when I was a senior at Indiana University, he played as a freshman on the soccer team. Now, granted, he only stuck around for 1 year because his career took him over to Holland to play in the Eredivisie for PSV Eindhoven. Now, he's the assistant coach for Angel City, so it's fun how all that ties back. Now, the game itself, starting right out, LAFC came out of the gates red hot, absolutely firing away at Vancouver's keeper, Takaoka. Takaoka made some brilliant saves, keeping Vancouver in the game. A lot of great plays. The first real opportunity came in the 6th minute when LAFC had a shot that struck above the crossbar. It was Mati Bogusz. It's a brilliant play that got built out of from the back with Ilie Sanchez connecting with Denny Bwanga. Got this possessed, but LAFC regains possession. Atuesta slides it in through Mati Bogusz, but unfortunately, he didn't get himself an opportunity. Now, I'm not going to talk about every single big moment of the game because we have only a matter of minutes to talk about 2 games. So I'm going to just get right into it. LAFC is the team that strikes first in the matchup. It was a brilliant build-up within the 19th minute. Timothy Tillman all the way to Edward Atuesta to Denny Bwanga, who gets one into the box, and as Kike Oliveira on the right side serpentines his way over on the right past LAFC defender Tristan Blackman. Denny Bwanga connects with him, and Kike Oliveira finds the back of the net, now for the 4th time in over the course of 3 matches. Up to this point, Takaoka had made a number of saves for Vancouver. He'd been making some great saves at this point, and I kind of felt a little badly for him. Not really. He's on the opposition. I could care less. I wanted LAFC to absolutely stick it to Vancouver. Now, the action wouldn't just end within the first half, within that 19th minute, because just a mere 20 or so minutes later, actually 18, Denny the Many evaded two more defenders on his drive in on the left side. He's gotten so good at that aspect, and the chemistry that he started to build with his other line mates in that Amadi Bogusz and Kike Oliveira really started to pay off and really started to become evident. Denny slides it through. Kike Oliveira's there, and boom, all of a sudden he scores his second goal of the game in what was a very similar to the first play back in the 19th minute. Now Oliveira, 5 goals in 3 games. And Denny not needing to score for LAFC in order to be dangerous and effective. He's finding his way doing all kinds of things. I asked him in the post-game, in the press conference, during the interviews, how he felt about contributing assists as opposed to scoring goals. And his answer was awesome. He said, I feel the same exact way contributing to the success of my teammates as I do scoring goals myself. His main focus is he wants to win. So we head into the second half with LAFC in a comfortable position. Starting things out within the second half, 57th minute, LAFC on the counter. It's Edward Atuesta again into Denny, who is off to the races, showing us that dazzling display of dashing all the way on that left side. The Vancouver defender, you can clearly see the look of fear as Denny slices him up. And again, this time, instead of contributing to Kike Oliveira's success, he gets it through in Amadi Bogusz. And now Amadi Bogusz scores the 3rd goal of the game and his 4th of the 2024 campaign. Dime dishing Denny does it again. And for the most part, that's your offense. Vancouver was not very threatening within the second half. Most of the action that occurred from their front occurred over the course of the first 45 minutes. I had spoke during our podcast. If you want to follow more LAFC content, check out Defenders of the Bank. I host a show with my buddy J.R. Liebert. It's been running since 2018, arguably the most followed LAFC podcast out there. We talked about how Brian White was the player to keep an eye out on for Vancouver. The game that he played against the LA Galaxy, which Tim and I talked about a couple of weeks ago, Brian White was aggressive and tenacious. Hardly saw him against LAFC, which is a testament to how well the defense was. So the score ends in the manner that it does. Vancouver, which was undefeated on the road, finally fell in BMO Stadium. And now LAFC is 5-0-2 at home this season, collecting a possible 17 out of 21 points. Denny Bouanga in his 50th regular season game did not need to score in order to be dangerous. All he needed to do was contribute and dish dimes. Kike Oliveira, as we mentioned, now 6 goals in 13 games in all competitions. That leaves him tied with Denny for the team lead in goals this season. And he's been playing outstanding. Between him and Denny, they are actually, or at least they were going into the weekend, number 1 and number 2 in Major League Soccer for shots on target. That concludes LAFC's matchup against Vancouver. Now, we head into some midweek madness in Major League Soccer as we saw a series of matches. I'm going to take LAFC and Tim's going to cover the Galaxy when we're off to that segment, which is going to give me a little bit of time to relax my voice. And I'm going to do that right here. Cheers to the wonderful people.
Yeah, exactly.
Monterrey, Mexico does a bunch of things really well between football, good standard of living, and Topo Chico. I love their stuff. St. Louis SC, LAFC's opponent on Wednesday, a team sitting in 9th place in the Western Conference, but by no means is that because they've been a bad team. This is a team that was on top of the Western Conference last season in their inaugural year. The reason they're in 9th place is because of the number of ties they've ascertained over the course of the first 13 or so games of the season. 3 wins, 1 loss, 7 ties, which is kind of wild. A team that does not lose at home, managed by Bradley Carnell, but also a team that has never beaten LAFC and has also never scored on LAFC. They only met each other twice last season. When they came into BMO Stadium, LAFC whooped them by a score of 3-0. In City Park, in the Show Me State of Missouri, it was a game that went into a draw. Didn't think it would be a high-scoring game, and it wasn't. Let's get things going. Not entirely sure how much longer we have on this segment, but that's okay. We're still going to wrap it up in the prettiest of bows. Kike Oliveira was my player to watch, as was Joao Klaus on St. Louis. We'll talk about them momentarily. Now, the first bit of drama that happened, we're looking into the 8th minute, an aggressive shot by St. Louis's Chris Durkin from well outside of the 18, saved by Hugo Lloris. Hugo Lloris, spoiler alert, would collect himself a clean sheet. But in the 12th minute, we had some craziness going on where Jesus David Murillo let a ball go out of bounds, so to speak. And that led to a corner. He was looking over at the official, trying to get confirmation as to whether or not a foul would be called. Nothing happened. And so LAFC now finds themselves in a position where they have to defend a corner. And that's something that they have not done successfully all season long. Corner comes in, and then the worst possible thing that could happen to LAFC happened. There was a handball in the box by Omar Campos, something that needed to go to VAR, but as they went to VAR, it was conclusive that Omar Campos extended his arm out, making himself bigger than he was. And now we have St. Louis's leading scorer in that of the Brazilian Joao Klaus, who's a fantastic player, by the way, coming off of a brace against the Chicago Fire recently, 2 goals. He leads the team in those statistical categories, 5 goals on the season already. He steps up to the 11-meter box, 12 yards, whatever unit of measure you want to utilize. And Hugo Lloris makes his first save on a PK since the Euros of 2021. Oh my God, it was incredible. Just to think when all calamity would break loose, Hugo Lloris proving everybody as to why LAFC went after him, making a very, very big play. Now, I could go over the entire first half, but I won't. I'm only going to bring up one thing. In stoppage time, 4 minutes worth of stoppage time, St. Louis's Markinick had a header. Not a header. Off of a set piece, he scores a goal. LAFC almost heading into the locker room down in stoppage, but another VAR and another handball, so St. Louis's goal gets called back. Fast forward into the second half, 59th minute into the second half, you have a goal by LAFC. A brilliant ball from well past the midfield finds Denis Bouanga for an absolute banger. Great touch, one heck of a golazo. 7th goal of the season for the Gabonese Terror. Great pass from Mari Bogusz. And he's actually operating in a very comfortable position in the midfield. Started the season up top with the forwards, with Kai Kamara playing the center forward role. Mari Bogusz is able to go back to the midfield, a position that he's gone on record by saying he's more comfortable in. So now Denis Bouanga's got his 7th. Bogusz now has his 6th goal involvement of the season, 4 goals and 2 assists, leaving him one shy of that entire number from last season. If we're going to utilize old school infomercials, but wait, there's more. A lot of action starting to go on. LAFC's defense stood out really big. The center backs came through in a lot of great ways. And Denis does it again in stoppage time. 90th plus 5 minutes. You had an awful mistake by St. Louis's Chris Durkin that led to Denis pouncing on him. Denis is off to the races, and when he's on a 1v1 with the keeper, he's a very tough man to stop. Cheeky chip to beat Roman Burki, the designated player keeper that arrived to St. Louis from Dortmund. Denis does it again, now with 8 goals on the season. And just to quote Keith Costigan, the play-by-play announcer on the broadcast, he said, LAFC with some absolute filth. Amazing. A final shot on Hugo Lloris in the dying seconds, and that is it. St. Louis in 3 games has yet to score on LAFC. LAFC gets their first win on the road against a team that hasn't lost at home. Hugo Lloris with tying a season-high 6 saves, another clean sheet. Now LAFC are 6-4-3 on the season for 21 points, tied for second place in the Western Conference. And despite one of the worst starts in franchise history, they've been playing very well. And oh, by the way, they're going to get Olivier Giroud down the road.
Dude, Philly, what way to bring the energy today, buddy. Taking over LAFC, Hugo Lloris, Denis Bouanga. Man, I'm all fired up. Let's go play, man. I don't want to be here anymore. Let's go get outside and play some ball.
No doubt. Well, if you're eager for more LAFC action, Tim, at BMO Stadium on May 21st against Loudoun United in the U.S. Open Cup, game's going to be at 7:30, $20 general admission, and then they're on the road against Atlanta United on May the 25th at 4:30 p.m., so it won't be that long before you see the black and gold.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome. So, yeah, get out and see those U.S. Open Cup games. Those are fun to watch. Let's move, like Philly said, we're going to do LA Galaxy now, and let's get to the Galaxy Real Salt Lake game. Galaxy go into that unbeaten at home, coming in at 2-0-3 in the 5 matches at Dignity Park, while averaging over 25,000 fans, which is just shy of a full sellout at that. They're averaging 25,221, which is awesome to see people pack Dignity Park out there in Carson. It was the 60th all-time meeting between the two teams, with the Galaxy holding a home record of 14-7-4 coming in unbeaten against Real Salt Lake in their last 7 at 4-0-3, dating back to September 30th of 2017. So, the game starts off strong. The Galaxy have got a couple of really good chances with Paintsill getting the ball in the box, taking a one touch, and the first one blocked by the defense. Second one's blocked by the keeper. But that strong defending held out in those first 15 minutes. And that was solid because just 5 minutes later, in the 20th minute, Real Salt Lake has got some great ball movement. They've got the ball in the attacking third, and 5 different players are touching that ball. Um, Goes out wide, and it's wide off to the winger Alexandros Katranis, and he bends a beauty of a high flying ball into Chicho Arango, and he outleaps the entire LA Galaxy defense and just puts his head on the ball, and it eludes a diving John McCarthy into the side netting, and it's 1-0 20 minutes in. And McCarthy, he's under duress again just 9 minutes later, and he's got to make a huge save off of a turnover to keep it 1-1. But just 11 minutes later, the Galaxy they just get burnt. There's a great give and go pass, and the Galaxy defense is just beaten badly. And Andres Gomez brings it down the right hand side and feeds a on-rushing Chico Arango. And again, he's got his brace, and we're 40 minutes in. And that goal gives Chico Arango 11 on the year, and he's tied at the top of the league with Benteke of DC United and Luis Suarez of Inter Miami. So, Arango is the guy that you got to have a man on, and getting him covered is you got to do it. And the Galaxy just weren't doing it. In the end of the half, it goes 2-0 to halftime. We're coming out of halftime though, and the Galaxy looked like a different team. Greg Vanney must have been talking to them, getting them in their right head, because they came out, and after a turnover at midfield, Paintsill finds Pooch in the center of the pitch. He moves left, and as he does, the entire Real Salt Lake defense, all 4 of them, collapse on Pooch. Well, Pooch isn't dumb. He passes it off, and he lays out a beauty of a pass to streaking Gabriel Peck, who just buries a one-timer between Real Salt Lake goalkeeper Zach McMath. 2-1. Galaxy are fired up, and they're getting after it. We'll get to the end of the game, because this is, the next 40 minutes or so, or just, it's a little bit back and forth. But we're in 90 plus 3.5. And the Galaxy are desperate to find a hero. And with that, Ricky Pooch sends a cross into the box. And, who other than Miguel Berry, who's been snake bit, without a goal coming into this. And he just replaced Jovalic only 20 minutes earlier. He goes in, slides on this cross, and surprises McMath, who doesn't realize that he's coming in. And it's back behind him, and literally it's the last kick of the game. LA Galaxy escape with a 2-2 tie, and it was just amazing to see that last goal by Miguel Berry, who is really starting to show some form. He and Jovalic are trading off in that center position, that false 9 spot, and Miguel Berry comes in looking like the hero and goes out with all the accolades. 2-2 and 25,221, well, maybe 2,150, go absolutely bonkers. And if there was a roof on Dignity Park, it would have blown off the way the fans were just going crazy. Just an amazing game. And we can get in, 2-2. So then we can get into the very next game, quick turnaround just a couple of days later. Jovalic, who comes on in the second half, makes his 100th appearance across all competitions for the LA Galaxy. And coming in, the Galaxy are 5-1-5. Minnesota is coming in at 6-1-3 into this game. Minnesota right above the Galaxy in the Western Conference. They're vying for the Supporters Shield. And, Pencil, Barry, and Peck are right up at the front. Pooch moves to the left on this side. He's been playing a little bit more left the past couple of games in that left mid. And Brugman takes on the center mid due to some injuries inside the LA Galaxy. McCarthy has got to be super sharp early because there's a free kick from about 30 yards out, and Joseph Rosales just rips one in the 16th minute. And if McCarthy wasn't paying attention, that thing's going upper 90 in that left corner. McCarthy is strong, sets that thing apart. But set pieces are the Darth Maul of the Galaxy, and as a poor clearance leads to a ripper of a shot and I've got to spell out this name because I got to get it right. Is Bogi Walongwane just rips one from the top of the box that clangs off the post, off the crossbar, and goes straight down. Well, not so much straight down because the game keeps playing, but about a minute later, they go to VAR, and it is a goal. It's clearly over the line, and it's 1-0 Minnesota. And that's how it ends up at the second half. Second half, Fagundes replaces Paintsill in 52nd minute, and Jovalic comes on for Barry in the 59th. And this is where it starts to get really interesting for the Galaxy. The changes immediately help as Peck makes a strong play on defense at midfield, gets the ball to Pooch, who slots it to Peck, who is just, as soon as he stole that ball, he just streaks down that right sideline. Gets that beauty of a pass and just sends us just a perfect pass. And guess who buries it? Jovalic, who had just come on. It's his first touch of the ball, hadn't even seen the ball yet, and it's in the back of the net. 1-1, and it's in the 61st minute. That was just a fantastic play by Pooch and Peck and everybody, just making it happen. And then just 6 minutes later, a stellar run of play sees Diego Fagundes take a deft pass from Ricky Pooch, the top of the box, takes a quick touch, and he beats Kervin Aranga to the ball and drives the ball past, the goalkeeper, Dane St. Clair, and it's 2-1. So within about 10 minutes of these guys coming on, 15 minutes of these guys coming on, makes all the difference in the world for the Galaxy. McCarthy makes a strong save on Robin Lod in the 74th minute. And then the force was with Minnesota United as another set piece from a corner. Rosales finds the head of Ariga. God, I'm screwing it up, Philly. You got to help me out with that one.
You did awesome with Holungwane. Keep on going, brother.
All right, baby. And the ball finds the back of the net, and it's 2-2 in the 80th minute. It was fantastic. Really, really great game. McCarthy makes two saves late, last 10 minutes to keep the score level. And it ends up, just a heck of a game. 2-2. The Galaxy come away with it. So they get a couple of points over the weekend. Just amazing run of play from those guys, to come back from 2 down and then go up, in the first game, go up 2-1 in the second game, and just really strong on the road to play against Minnesota. It's another one of these hard places to play. And with as many road games as the Galaxy have played, to be at the upper half of that conference, upper third of the conference, is just really, really strong.
They're Galaxy's a tough team. They're a tough team, Tim. Only 2 losses on the season.
Yeah, I mean, it's incredible. Minnesota is just playing really, really well. Galaxy's next game is this weekend, Saturday, May 18th at home, 4:30 local time, 12:30 a.m. in London. So all of our friends out in London that are listening to us, watch that game. They're playing Charlotte, who have won 3 of their last 5 and sit 6-5-2 in league play. It's going to be an amazing game for football. Let's go out there and watch some of the teams.
Yeah, that being said, we're going to transition on over to the Empire Strykers. of the Major Arena Soccer League. Not a whole lot going on in terms of MASL action because the season's over and the Chihuahua Savage are the reigning defending champs. But that doesn't mean that Strykers players aren't in the news, Tim. The reigning defending MASL Golden Boot leader, Marco Fabian, has starred on a show on Peacock called Love Undercover, which last week was one of the top 5 shows to watch on Peacock. So let's chat a little bit about Marco, that show. It's a dating show, a reality dating show featuring several different professional soccer players who go undercover as somebody other than themselves, meaning one's an advertising salesman, one's in construction. They don't go in as the guys of being professional footballers because they don't want that to bias the opinions on some of these girls that think they're just on a dating show. So why don't we talk about that? And to bring up some of those topics, we're going to have our correspondent, Amanda the Panda Philemon's going to join us. She's also going to stick with us for the Angel City segment. She's one half of the co-hosting broadcasting duo of Angel City Chicks. Amanda, welcome to Soccer in 60. Welcome back.
So excited to be here. And of course, I would be the one to have to come here and talk about a dating reality show because, well, I mean, hey, I've watched a few of them in my time. And honestly, this one is very, very entertaining. It's a whole different kind of concept, I guess. And I do have some issues with it. I do take issue with the fact that are these women not a little bit curious as to why they are all fighting over 5 just, attractive, but, normal by every stretch of the imagination guys? Like, are they not a little bit wondering why they're all in LA vying for the attention of these men who are, construction workers and stuff? So it's a little interesting. And I also take issue with the fact that they get mad whenever they are told that there's another girl that is vying for the attention. I mean, you came to a reality show where you are trying to date. I mean, it's frustrating. Okay. So, but it's highly, highly entertaining. It is exactly the kind of, reality TV that we get sucked into so easily. And I think the fact that we know Marco Fabian on a personal level and seeing him out there kind of doing his thing is really a lot of fun. I know new episodes drop today, Thursday, so I'm excited to get back to that once we wrap all this up and see what happens on the next episodes.
Yeah, no spoilers, obviously. We're not going to tell you. You got to check it out. Marco Fabian is one of 5 players. You have Sebastian Falsi, who I believe his father owns Pachuca down in Liga MX. Jamie O'Hara, who's played for some big clubs. Lloyd Jones, who I believe was one of the players of the year in the English Championship, playing at Charlton United. And then Ryan Babel, who had featured for Ajax and played for the Dutch national team in 2010, the year they were runners-up in the World Cup. It's funny. And Marco Fabian, without a doubt, the most popular of all the athletes. But I've loved the show. Tim, I'm not sure. Have you had an opportunity to check out 1 or 2 of these episodes?
Yeah, I was rewatching the first episode this afternoon, trying to recatch up and get a couple of giggles in because, you watch Marco, and again, like Panda said, we know him, and it's magnificent to see a guy on a nationally televised worldwide show hanging out with Jamie O'Hara, who tells everybody he's an ad salesman, and he's like, "Oh God, I'm an ad salesman." But it's engaging television. It's really super great. I really, really enjoyed the first couple of episodes, and I can't wait to catch up with them more tonight when I get home.
It's gonna be fun. I can't wait. It's exciting. I love it. The kind of trash TV that just you sit at home and you just kind of immerse yourself in, and I don't know, you don't have to think, which I think I really enjoy. You just kind of enjoy. It's like the mindless TV after a long day of work to come home to, and really exciting. So.
Yeah, look, again, Marco's on it. We know Marco on a personal level. Just watching him in there is awesome. So check out Love Undercover. The next 5 episodes air tonight on Peacock. The first 5 episodes are already on demand, so check it out. Love Undercover, featuring Empire Striker star and Mexican legend superstar Marco Fabian.
Yeah, just a great time. Great watch. Check it out on Peacock. You might have to pay for it, but that's okay. Make your kids pay for it. They have every streaming service anyways.
There you go. Our cats might disagree.
Yeah, I'm going to step off of this segment here. I'm going to tag my wife to come in and talk about Angel City. So, Tim, you and Panda can chop it up. I'm going to take a break.
Fantastic. We'll see you soon, Philly.
All right,
Panda, let's.
now so we can talk some Angel City chat.
Yeah, absolutely. Come
All
on
right.
in. So, we had Madison Curry on last week, which was just fantastic. And then the LA Times must have listened to us because she was in the paper not 2 days later over the weekend. So let's get an update on what's going on with Angel City there, Panda.
All right. So first, before I get into the game that was just played and kind of recap that, they did come out with some interesting news earlier this weekend, on Monday or Tuesday, I believe, where Angel City announced that they hired Mark Wilson as the club's first ever technical director. And I know there's a lot of people out there that were like, just now hiring a technical director, like, what do you mean? And what a lot of people don't understand is that role is actually very unique to the NWSL. There's not a lot of teams that have hired technical directors, and I think seeing this with Angel City, I think it's going to spur a lot of other teams to go in the same direction. I think these teams are getting better. They're requiring more and more tools in their toolbox, if you will, to be more competitive. So I'm really excited to see what he brings to this team. He's got an impressive resume. I don't have enough time to read it all to you, but go out there, check him out. I can't wait to see what we do with our current team and hopefully our future team. So that's exciting. And speaking of changes with the team, I think a lot of people are hoping that that gets done sooner rather than later because of this last matchup that we had. Unfortunately, did not go the way that Angel City had hoped. I mentioned on last week's show that Houston Dash had not won in their last 5 games, and Angel City was playing at home, so huge advantage. And also was the return of Paige Nielsen since being traded to the Houston Dash. Now, I'm going to go ahead and kind of run through this game and highlight it. Unfortunately, not a lot of highlights because, spoiler alert, the game did end in a 0-1 loss for Angel City, and it could not have come in a more dramatic fashion. So just wait till I get to the end for that. But yeah, let's get into it because it did start out as a very chippy match. Houston actually had 6 fouls and 2 yellow cards within the first 20 minutes of this game. So they were really coming out hard. I think they knew they needed to be aggressive against this Angel City team that was, a little bit, hot around, around the boots. But we were going to see in the 13th minute, Angel City was going to earn their very first opportunity. And this is going to come by way of Clarice Lebion, a name I have not gotten to say this season much. She earned her first start in this matchup. So excited to see her out on the pitch. I thought she had a fantastic season last year. So hopefully we see more of her. Now, Clarice Lebion, she did play a free kick into the box, who gave a diving header to Sydney Leroux, who she has been good on those headers, as we saw in the last matchup, but unfortunately it would miss in the right outside corner of the goal. Now, Dash are going to create some chances in the 25th minute when midfielder Avery Patterson sent a cross to the left side of the box to forward Ramona Bachman, who almost nailed a shot from point blank range. It went right over Didi Heritage's head and thankfully out. Now, Alyssa Thompson is going to create another chance in the 32nd minute after dribbling past defenders in the box for a shot that was blocked and did earn them a corner kick. Unfortunately, nothing came from that. Now, the first half of this game is going to end in a 0-0 tie, but Angel City actually looked pretty good. They possessed the ball for almost 60% of the time. The first 45 minutes, they earned 83% passing accuracy, and they were out shooting Houston 7-2. And as I've mentioned before, they are now at 6 out of their last 8 games, they have been able to hold their opponents to no goals in the first half and did it again this time. So a lot of things that were positive, but a lot of things to work on. Finishing those chances, of course, was not happening for us. I mean, we talked so much about Claire Emsley, and unfortunately, she was a little quiet in this matchup. I didn't, see or hear a whole lot from her, and we definitely needed her boot to be on fire for this matchup. Now, in the beginning of the second half, Houston was able to produce 2 shots right inside the box that were well defended by Angel City's back line. But then Angel City is going to get another chance in the 72nd minute when defender Jasmine Spencer, she forced a cross into the box to LaRue again, who unfortunately put just a little too much power on the shot. This would have put them up ahead of the Dash, and I think the crowd would have gone wild. Unfortunately, we were not going to get that kind of cheers, but the defense is going to step up and they're not going to allow them to create any chances for almost 20 minutes. But sadly, offensively, ACFC only were able to convert one shot on target in the second half. They were not offensively good. It's almost like they sat back and were trying to be more defensive. And, they had a lot of opportunities on both sides, but it was the 99th minute. I mean, there were 7 minutes of stoppage time added. So we were hoping in the 97th minute, okay, they're going to blow the whistle. Feeling kind of down the fact that we were going to walk away with a tie against Houston, where we really felt it should have been a win. And before we could even, I think that thought, we're going to see none other than former Angel City defender Paige Nielsen is going to come and score a goal off of a corner kick, the winning goal of the match. It was pretty much over. It was so frustrating. It was poetic justice, as a lot of people are saying. I mean, you have to understand that the people that were angry that she left are now just even more hot around the collar because, oh my goodness. Of course it had to be her. Of course it had to be Paige.
Of course it had to be her. Of course it was going to come down to it. The way they were playing, especially those last 7-8 minutes, like you said, they were playing super conservative. They were trying to put 8, 9, 10 players behind the ball. And if you do that, I don't care if you've never won a game. You're gonna give up a goal late if you're just in a defensive shell, and you have somebody like Paige come out, and she knows how to put the ball in the net. She did it for Angel City.
Absolutely.
So yeah, to see that, just the death and dying moments of that game.
It's just so frustrating. I mean, you just, like I said, we were all a little peeved that it was even going to end in a tie. So to walk away from this match, as a loss, I know it had to gut the team, because one of the problems they've had all season long is literally playing to the final whistle. They have lost too many points this season to these late minute goals, and they've got to be able to keep their foot on the gas the entire way to the very end of this game and just close them out. I mean, they are playing so well in the first half of all these games. They just need to figure out a way to duplicate that. And, I'm hoping they can figure it out, because you listened to Becky Tweed talking in the press conference, and it's just so funny. They really didn't feel like they played very well against Utah last week, but they ended up with the win. And she goes, I felt like for a good 67 minutes against Houston, who surprisingly, she said, played very well in her opinion, that they end up losing to them, and they lose to them at home, unfortunately. And it was Mother's Day, and it was just such a great day to celebrate. And unfortunately, they were not celebrating a win on that day. And I'll tell you, we all went home a little sad that night because, man, if you look at the stats after the game, I mean, they looked okay possession-wise and passing and accuracy-wise, but they really they had 13 shots with only 3 on target, and you cannot score goals if you're not getting them close to the net, unfortunately. So that's why I say I feel like, Claire Emsley was a little silent in this, and maybe, maybe she's like, hey, I've done a lot. I'm going to try to see, who else can create chances. But we all know she's the clear chance creator on this team and in this league. So,
right.
Hopefully
we talked about it last week about, even Madison brought it up. It's, they play great for 70, 80, 85 minutes. And she made the comment last week, and it's not a 90-minute game. It's not a 92-minute game. It's you got to play until the whistle type of game.
100-minute game in this sense.
100-minute game, right? And
unfortunately,
and to your point, Coach was mentioning that, said they played better than they did the previous week when they won against Utah, and then this week, they play a better game and they come out on the short end of a 1-0 result.
Yeah, certainly not the way they all envision this game going, but all they can do is take from it what they can to make themselves better, and hopefully they can do that in this next matchup. We're going to see this on Saturday, May 18th at 4:30 Pacific time. Angel City are traveling to Washington to take on the Spirit. The match will stream live on Ion TV, and they're going to need to bring everything they've got and play to that final whistle, because, well, Washington's sitting in third place. They've got 6 wins and 3 losses. So, definitely not a team to sleep on. So I am ready to see what they're going to bring to the table. Hopefully they've had a good practice session this week, and we can pull out 3 points on the road, because they've actually been pretty good on the road this season.
Yeah, that's great. I'm looking forward to that game, and hopefully they can pull that out. So, and with that, thank you very much, Amanda the Panda. Appreciate you coming in, talking Angel City with us.
Yeah, always a pleasure being here. So I always enjoy your show, and I guess I have to hand it back over to Philly. So unless he wants me to keep this chair warmer.
Absolutely. Well, we'd like you to stick around. You're a little easier on the eyes than Philly there. But he's got a friend with him today, so maybe he's okay to hang out.
Yeah, making his debut on Soccer in 60 is the illustrious Hagrid the Cat.
Billy, take it away. We've got Ethan Zubak with us this afternoon.
We get a lot of cool opportunities to meet a lot of great people on this show. And on today's show, we get to interview a member of OCSC from Corona, California, by way of the IE. Our guest today started his club career at Arsenal FC in California. From there, his youth career took him to the youth academy of the highly successful LA Galaxy, where he spent time with Galaxy 2 and the senior team. From there, a trip on over to Tennessee as a member of Nashville SC, and then back to beautiful Orange County, where he is now an integral piece of the Orange County SC club, which is where he's currently playing. Oh, and by the way, on top of that, also representing the U.S. men's national team on the U19 level. Folks, we give you Ethan Zubak. Ethan, welcome to Soccer in 60.
Hey, how you guys doing? Thanks for having me on the show, and thanks for the very nice introduction.
Yeah, of course. It's a joy to have you on the show today, Ethan. I've been watching your career for a number of years. I'm sure you've had some fun while you were in Nash Vegas, but it's great to have you back here in SoCal.
Yeah. Nashville was a really good time. Me and my wife had plenty of good times, but it's great being back in Southern California. It's great being around family and friends and just Southern California people. So we're happy to be home.
Of course. Now, I mentioned during your introduction, you spent some time in your youth career at Arsenal SC here in Southern California. A lot of highly talented players like yourself have come from that club. Talk to us a little bit about your upbringing and obviously how Arsenal helped you develop early on in your career as it prepared you for the next level.
Yeah, so Arsenal had a really big integral part in who I am as a player. So I used to play in my local club here in Corona, California, but I used to play with my older brother's team, which was 3 years older, for the first couple of years while I did that. So I had the pleasure of playing against, I guess, just bigger kids growing up. And then Arsenal was, one of the top clubs in the area. I was able to go practice with them, train with them. They accepted me into one of their teams. And it was amazing. I worked with great coaches, Steve Lucy, PJ Brown, and many, many others. And they just played a big role in exposing me to just a higher level of soccer, and especially in Southern California, because Southern California has some of the best soccer and youth soccer in the country. It was just a great time. And then from there, I played in their, academy system that, exposed me to other, big environments. We used to play against the Galaxy's Academy, which is where I got recognized. So I could just attribute a lot of my, success and exposure and the opportunities that I've gotten to Arsenal. So I'm grateful for them, and I'm grateful for the experience that I had with them.
I'm going to bring his name up because he's tied to us here in Soccer in 60, and he's a good friend. Jimmy Nordberg, the head coach of the Ontario Fury and Empire Strykers, now the general manager. I know he had some time that he spent with you. In fact, I spoke with him earlier today about you and how much he enjoyed working with you. Now, knowing Jimmy for a number of years, having worked with him, talk to us about some of the things that you learned from him.
Yeah, so Jimmy was my first coach when I came over to Arsenal. He was, the person that when I tried out for them, he was the head coach and was just super welcoming as far as me coming to the club. But it was great. I mean, working with Jimmy was just such a great experience. He was honestly the first person that, where I was like, wow, this is a serious guy who expects a lot from his players. So, I really enjoyed working with him, and I think he just advanced my game quite a bit. He loves the game. I feel like, he's just one of those guys that lives and breathes soccer. So working with him is a really good experience. And it's pretty cool to see that, Jimmy's had such great success now, working in just a different realm of soccer and in a higher level. So, again, like I said, he's one of those coaches where I was like, hey, these are the people that I need to be around if I want to be successful in soccer.
Yeah, that's awesome, Ethan. It's great that you've mentioned a bunch of different people in this so far. Do you still get to connect with PJ Brown and some of these other guys?
Yeah, I do. From time to time, those guys check up on me, and we get to have some conversations. And now, I guess being home, I'll be able to hopefully even see a bit more of those guys. But yeah, since my career has taken off, I still am able to connect with those guys. There's been a couple of occasions where I've actually gone out to some of the team events that Arsenal hosts, or charity events and stuff that they host. So I have been able to reconnect with them. And yeah, like I said, I'm looking forward to hopefully hearing more from those guys soon. Now that I'm back home.
Brilliant. Yeah, it's got to be fun to be back home. Now that you're playing with Orange County SC, playing in the championship stadium in Irvine, what a great facility, right? How is it playing with some? I mean, you're playing with some really talented guys with like Cameron Dunbar, Thomas Among. How's that working out for you guys and fitting into Coach Morton's system?
Yeah, it's been great so far. Like you said, a lot of talented guys on the team, and I think the team's honestly a testament to SoCal talent itself too, because there's so many SoCal guys that have come back and now are playing for Orange County that have played, in MLS, across seas and other teams. So it's been amazing being able to still play with high level guys, and to be reconnected with some of them too, because I actually played with Cameron at the Galaxy, with Brian Olowski at the Galaxy, Owen Lamb, and a lot of these guys. But yeah, I mean, it's a great experience. Training's great every day. It's great to be in Irvine. I mean, Irvine's such a great area, and the Great Park is just such a great place to play games. And it's honestly one of those places where I think it's just a good stadium and environment that'll help build USL even more. So it's been really nice. I mean, I can't complain about any of it. I mean, Orange County it's a special place, and yeah, I've had nothing but a good experience so far.
Ethan, I just want to quickly piggyback off what you mentioned, some of the players that you competed with over at the Galaxy. I want to take you back in time. August 22nd, 2020, at what was then known as Bank of California Stadium. I believe it was Julian Araujo who set you up as you smashed a header past LAFC's keeper, Kenneth Vermeer, for your first MLS goal and only your second start with the Galaxy. Talk to me. What was that feeling, scoring your first goal, not only in Bank of California Stadium? I mean, obviously it was during the COVID times, but you scored against a rival. Talk to us about how that felt for you as a player, professionally and like spiritually as well.
Yeah, I mean, at the time, and honestly might still be, the best moment of my career, just because, I mean, what a relief. I mean, that's the moment that all American players want to get to, is scoring their first MLS goal and just feeling that rush. But to do it in a rivalry game against LAFC was phenomenal. I mean, it was just one of the best days of my life. And yeah, I mean, playing for the Galaxy and now having experienced so many of those El Trafico games, I mean, those were just different, really different. I mean, unfortunately, that one was during COVID and wasn't played in front of the fans, but when the fans were there, man, those games had just an environment that, were just different from all the ones in the rest of the year. So yeah, that was a great moment. I got to celebrate it with family that day. Again, just, playing for your hometown club, the benefit is that you get to go see your loved ones after and celebrate with the people you care about most. So yeah, I mean, that's just a great day, and it's just one that I'll remember for the rest of my life.
Well, I do have to give you credit there, Ethan. You said it was the greatest day of your career and not your life. So yeah. I'm sure your wife has got. I'm sure your wife is pretty happy to have you say that.
Yeah, definitely. Life, there's bigger moments for sure. Wedding day, kids in the future, all that type of stuff. So yeah, save face a little bit right there.
Exactly. Well, good on you, Ethan. Somebody's brought you up really well. I guess we got to credit. You got to credit the parents for that one.
Yes, my parents are great people, and yeah, I don't know where I'd be without them. So yes, full credit to them. anything that I've done in my life that's, been successful or it's all to their credit. So I'm lucky to have them.
That's great. So we got one last question. How we looking at our upcoming matches? How we looking as a team? How's training going? And you had mentioned a minute ago, but speak to us more about that.
Yeah. Training's been going great. Team had a hot start to the season. Been a couple ups, been a couple downs as well still. But the team is definitely trending in the right direction. And I think that coming into the summer, there's going to be so many games. And I just think that the team's really going to find rhythm. And I think that we've got a lot to look forward to. We're going to Oakland this weekend. Should be a good matchup. It's a tough place to play, but our mentality going into every game, even away games, is that we want to get 3 points out of it. So we're excited for another challenge and somewhere new to go. So it should be a good game, and hopefully we can fulfill our expectations and get 3 points.
I got to ask you one quick question. I just can't help it. We watched the game against Louisville. I know you got the what would have been the first goal of the game for y'all after being down 2-0. Offside, fair call or not?
Unfair. It's so funny. It's so funny because after the game, since there's no video review or anything like that during the game, you can't really argue too much because it was part of the moment. I wasn't thinking like, oh, that was clearly onside. But after the game, I had players from Louisville coming up to me and they said, hey, we had the video on the bench. You were onside. Your teammate was onside. And so when the whole rest of the other team is telling you that your goal is onside, that's when you're like, okay, now I could actually be a little mad about that. So we watched it in film too with the team after. Everyone could see that it's onside. So yeah, it is a bummer because that is a different ball game if that goal counts. We'd be down 2-1 with 15 plus minutes left. So that is a bummer of an occurrence.
Yeah, totally robbed you. What would have been your second goal of the season? But that's all right. You're going to head up north and do the same thing to Oakland, except this time it's going to count.
Absolutely. That's the goal. It's just going to motivate me to score goals this weekend and beyond. So just going to use it as fuel.
All right. Well, Ethan, I certainly appreciate the time that you took to spend with us. I'm sure you got better things to do than to hang out with these two old knuckleheads, but thank you for your time. Good luck the rest of the season, and hope to see you down in Irvine sooner rather than later.
Absolutely. And thank you guys for having me on the show. I had a really good time, and yeah, I'll be seeing you guys over at the Great Park.
All right. Sounds good.
Thanks, Ethan. Talk to you soon, pal. Bye.
I will say one of the coolest things that we get to do on the show is get to hear it from the perspectives of some of the players that compete on some of the teams that we cover. I had a great interview with Colin Shuttler. Ethan was awesome. I've known about this young man for a while. I mean, just having watched him during his time in Major League Soccer. So it's pretty cool that we're covering Orange County and that we get to see him continue on with his career.
Yeah, having been to the Great Park several times, being there, getting to talk with some of the players, like you said, we had Colin on. I got to meet Colin at Media Day, first part of the season. Being able to cover this Orange County team is just amazing because you're going to see a lot of these guys either coming down from MLS and going back up, or as they're coming up, like an Ashton Miles or something, who's going to either move up to MLS or he's going to go to Europe. You're going to see a lot of these guys playing at the higher levels. It's absolutely incredible.
Of course. And just really quickly, just to give you all an update, it's a tough road trip for Orange County. They competed against one of the best teams, not only over there in the East, but in the USL, in that of Louisville. So they unfortunately fell by a score of 3-0. As we talked about with Ethan, he did score a goal that could have potentially been the 2-1. So it was called offside, so it wasn't meant to be. But another quick little tie to here on the show, Empire Strykers. One of the players on Louisville that really made a big impact was that of Adrian Perez. Adrian Perez played for the Ontario Fury and had an excellent career in the Major Arena Soccer League. That led him over to 2 solid seasons playing for LAFC, got to play at DC United with the likes of Wayne Rooney, found his way back to the Empire Strykers, en route to the San Diego Loyal in the USL, and then obviously here in Louisville, we're not in Kentucky, but over in Louisville where he had an impact on the game. For Orange County, they still remain in third place within the Western Conference, and a big game coming up against the Oakland Roots on the road on May the 18th.
Yeah, the Oakland game is going to be great. And then don't forget to come out to one of my favorite nights of the year, of which they have 4 of them this year at the Great Park at Championship Stadium. They have Beer Fest on May the 25th. It is a great time with the Beer Fest ticket. You not only get tickets to the game, but you also get to go and try as many as 50 different beers. So make sure that you're not driving to that one and you take a ride share or you got a designated driver because they actually have designated driver tickets and they're discounted. So if
Oh,
you got a DD, let the DD take you and they get in, they get all the Cokes and everything else they want, drink wise, that's all gratis, just no alcohol, and have somebody else drive you to that game. I've been to several of them and I Uber every time I go.
I love that. Yeah, and they have such great crowds there. I mean, they continue to
Oh, it's
sell out.
amazing.
One of the best attended teams in the USL, and they also have, without a doubt, the sweetest kits too. I haven't seen too many uniforms, too many jerseys in USL that can rival that of Orange County. So go out and check out OCSC as they look to make a run deep into the Western Conference and obviously in the USL playoffs.
Yeah, and their US Open Cup kit was really, really cool. It was designed specifically for that US Open Cup game. It had vertical stripes on it. The kit was just dialed in. It was really good. James, the owner that I met at that US Open Cup game, was great. He was very accommodating to all of us guys up in the press box, and then just a fantastic kit, just their standard one. And they've got great sponsors and just that the whole team is just a good time to hang out with them and go see the game. It's got to go. Hey, Philly, man, thanks for hanging out with me again. Thanks, everybody. Thanks for tuning in to us on KMET Radio, on streaming on us. This has been Soccer in 60, and I'm your host, Tim Kolatz. Have an awesome